Hello, everyone. Welcome to Packaging Best Practices for E-commerce Businesses. Super excited to have you. I'm just going to take a minute and introduce myself because I'm new to the Academy team. I'm Steph, and I'm going to be hosting the workshops for the next little while. I'm super happy to meet the Plus community, so hello. And we're also super excited to have Philip Agsar from Arka. He's the CEO of Arka, and he is just such a wealth of knowledge when it comes to packaging and best practices and all that kind of stuff. So I'm super excited to hear what he has to say. Like I said before, the whole thing's being recorded. We're going to send you guys all an email, the same email that you subscribed to the webinar with. And there is going to be a live Q&A with Philip at the end of the presentation. So please feel free to ask questions throughout. There's a Q&A button in the Zoom at the bottom that you can pop your questions in there or in the chat box, and I will be collecting them all and asking them to Philip at the end. So without further ado, I will take it over to Philip.
Cool. Thank you. Thanks for the intro. Thanks for giving Arka the opportunity to talk best practices for e-com businesses when it comes to packaging. To everyone that's listening, I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as possible. I know this is probably your 50th quarantine webinar that you're listening in on, and I really want this to be more interactive, an opportunity for you guys to go over any questions you might have. Like Steph mentioned, there's going to be contact info at the end too, so you guys can reach out if you have questions that weren't answered during this webinar. So let's get to it. So overview, just reading off this quick list of what we're going over. So why packaging matters, how to choose best packaging. Packaging inserts can help increase repeat and brand loyalty. So essentially what that means, and we'll go into it further, what can you put inside of your package that can truly reach your customers versus just here's a product in a box and then, you know, that's it. There's no engagement from there on out. It's a really good opportunity to also engage. Strategies to help ship in a more sustainable way, and that has to do with the size of your package, the material, sourcing in general, and we'll go over that further. How to budget for custom packaging and save money, because sometimes a lot of businesses come to us and they say, hey, I want the fanciest thing on the planet, and they just haven't even launched their product yet. And to that I say, just launch something and iterate on the packaging from there. You don't have to immediately do custom branded packaging to start. You just want to make sure that you have some sort of product market fit. And I'm not saying that's a prerequisite to custom branded packaging, but it is something that can help evolve what your branding in general might look like, and thus your packaging. And then lastly, tips to prepare for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, because that, if you're reading this now, if you're listening to this, it's already the time. It is the time to be preparing for that. So why packaging matters. So it helps boost retention rates, brand advocates, customer loyalty, and brand awareness. Like, your package is your billboard. So whatever you put on your package, inside your package, whether it's the branding inside your package or the physical inserts that I briefly touched on prior, all of that is some sort of communication and engagement of your brand and ultimately your product and your customers. So put effort into that in whatever way you can, and that doesn't necessarily mean spend more money. It just means put in more effort. This is just random tidbit fact. 63% of consumers say a packaging's appearance compelled them to purchase the product again. And this might not even literally have meant the packaging material or anything to that effect. It's the combination of things that came with your product, how it was positioned in the package, the branding on the outside, or the branding on the inside, the feel. It's really all the different senses that come into play as a physical user interface with your customers, because, you know, we're talking e-com, that by definition means everything's digital, but with your packaging and that delivery experience, it's an opportunity for you to actually reach out to your customers. These statistics I'm just going to quickly breeze through came out from a survey through .com distribution. So this has to do with a lot of consumer-based decision making. First of which, on the top left, has to do with premium packaging and the product itself. So this really does actually tie back to the previous statistics, where it's saying that someone's likely to purchase again and someone's likely to like your product because of the packaging itself, which also ties into the statistic on the top right here about branded packaging having an upscale feel. So the inverse of that statistic might be something like a really expensive piece of technology or expensive um, piece of jewelry, for example, like a Rolex. If you get a Rolex in a plain brown box, that's going to have the opposite effect of, you know, a standard item in a really nice package. So that Rolex coming in a plain brown box, you might immediately think that's fake. I mean, why would that be the package that delivers such an expensive product? And similarly, you might have a modestly priced product that comes in a really nice package. And by nice, again, not saying more expensive, just saying something that's put into effort. That's going to level up your brand as a whole, just because of what that package looks like. Bottom left, 61% of consumer-based decision-making tied to excitement with the package itself. This has to do with something that I'm sure we've all been guilty of, where you know, at Arka, we call it the doorstep experience. So whether it's literally your front doorstep, or your mailroom, or your mailbox, or your lobby, whatever living situation you have, you see the package and you're automatically connecting it to the purchase you made. And something as simple and as large as someone like an Amazon, when you order something online and you know it's coming in the mail, you get that excitement. And so with being able to customize your packaging and putting effort into that, you can have the same power as someone as large as an Amazon with very little money, very little upfront investment. I know it sounds like a sales pitch at this point, but realistically, like, there is that tie to your product because of that visual stimulus of, oh, there's what I ordered, it just arrived, and then you get excited. I've been there. I'm sure, you know, at least half of the people listening have been there as well. Last one, 44% tie branding and buyer's remorse to a situation that's actually kind of funny, where they buy something, and because the package was nice, they're less likely to have buyer's remorse. They're more likely to say, oh, it was worth it, just because it came in a nice package. So that's a nice little hack for some of you that you know, want people to really buy your items and not have any regret after making that either impulse buy or something to that effect. It actually helps. It soothes that guilt of making an online purchase. So again, something that's requires very little investment up front, that can have long-term benefits of how you engage with customers. Like, this is it. You are telling a story, you are engaging with your customers, and you're being deliberate with whatever you're sending them with that package. So make sure what you're saying is actually what you mean, because it will have some sort of lasting effect, either consciously or subconsciously. How to choose the best packaging. So there's multiple styles and there's multiple categories you can fall into: free, dollars, and cents. Free on the top left being USPS boxes. So if you live in the United States, you can get packaging for free from USPS. So you don't need to go to Arka and buy packaging if you can just go to USPS and get it for free. If you're just starting out, if you're developing your brand, if you're starting to understand your users, this is a good place to start. I'm not saying you should stay there. By all means, you need to get out of there, because branded packaging has become table stakes for e-commerce. But when you're just starting out and really you just want to perfect how you engage with your customers and what type of responses you're getting from your customers to perfect your product and then ultimately your brand, then you can graduate from USPS free boxes to something that might be unbranded. But then you have the freedom to ship with any carrier, and you can add stickers or stamps or even branded tape, all of which we can supply, and then ultimately you can get branded packaging. But just trying to let you know that wherever you are in this journey is okay. Just have your goals set and just continue iterating, and ultimately you can have the perfect fit between branding, product, and what that package looks like that you deliver your product in. This is what we're referring to when we mean stock packaging. So you can do poly mailers, boxes, and then, as I mentioned, stamps and stickers. And what this timeline looks like, be sure that you know what the design process, how long it's going to go into that, the proofing, which is essentially, getting your design approved, the print, and then the shipping. So for this, you need to have serious consideration, since Black Friday, Cyber Monday is just around the corner. Don't wait until, the first week of November to get this done, or even October. Like, October is when you should be finishing up your assessment on Black Friday, Cyber Monday push. You should have your packaging, at least sorted out, not necessarily at your warehouse or facility, but it's time to figure that ish out, if you know what I mean. Different types of packaging. Don't get too bogged down by this. This is a lot of information, I understand. But real takeaways that you need to understand here are on the left, which is, quantities. So how many are you buying? Quality. So is this something that needs to be super premier, or do you just want like a nice logo on there or a couple colors or whatever? Timing. This is probably the most important at this point, just because, again, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, just around the corner. And then lastly, budget. What can you afford? And so we'll start with the first column, which is digital print. It's great for short runs, so you can order as few as 10 boxes. The quality is great. It looks fantastic. It does have some limitations in the sense that you can't do, holographic print or something crazy, but most packaging doesn't necessarily need that anyways. However, if that is very much so the ethos around what your company does and you need to have something very specific, then you might want to go into the column on the right, which is flexolitho, which is ideal for larger runs. So if you're doing over 5,000, definitely where you should go. And has more consistent color, and it is the highest quality. Timing, digital is best for timing, so you can get it in about under 2 weeks. If you do rush, you can get it in 1 week. Flexolitho print requires 6 to 8 weeks. And then budget, again, it ties back to the quantity, and it's cheaper for if you want 10 to 5,000, and then 5,000 and above, you want to go flexolitho. Long story short, high level takeaway, really depends on what your budget is and your timing. If you want quick, short runs, you don't have the upfront money to pay for tooling or finalize anything, go with digital. If you're a business that's further along, that's where the flexolitho route makes the most sense, that we can also help with. And that's where you can get high volume, and you would need to have good preparation because the turnaround time can be much longer than digital. The left column we really recommend for people just starting out and piloting something as well. So if you want to do something holiday focused, go the digital route. You can do short run. And again, don't get too bogged down by the slide. We're here to answer those questions. You don't need to have a PhD in this discussion the second I move on to the next slide. Don't worry about it. How packaging inserts can help increase repeat purchases, brand loyalty. We quickly touched on this. So thank you cards, discount offers, product samples, small gifts, loyalty programs. You saw there's a QR code there. Very simple way. I know nobody uses QR codes, but that's not entirely true. You just put up a camera to it and it takes your customer to your site. It gives them a discount or whatever. That's great. That means something. So whether you're using platforms like, Loyalty Line or Smile.io or whatever, having that print is a good way to just quickly get someone to your product page. Like whether it's product reviews as well, sharing on social media, you can make a QR code do basically anything. And then another thing to mention about this, again, budgeting. You don't need to spend a lot of money on this. So whether it's a handwritten note, like just a handwritten note that's just like a white piece of paper and ink, just put yourself in your customer's shoes. You receive something like that. It's clearly effort was put into it. That's all that matters. Similarly, maybe you've got some extra coin in your pocket and you can spend a lot of money on really beautiful design, and all you need to say is just thank you. That's fine too. Like those are both results of effort, not necessarily a result of, look how much money they spent on this for me as the customer. No, you want to be heard as a customer. You want, we're moving into to get on my soapbox for just an itty bitty second. We're moving into an economy where people want to think that whatever they just bought was very niche. It was very much for them. Like that's what we're moving towards. That's why platforms like Shopify are so successful, because maybe not everyone on Shopify is doing, millions of dollars a year, but a lot of people have incredibly loyal communities. And it's because those companies have done such a great job at truly finding out what it is their customers want to hear and speaking to them honestly and with effort. So as long as the effort is there, that's all that matters, not the amount of money you spend on it. So I can't stress that enough. Obviously, I brought it up like 5 times. Speaking of five simple ways, strategies to ship in a more sustainable way. Go for smaller boxes, first of all. A lot of people, excuse me as I adjust myself for a second. A lot of people rely on their warehouse for the packaging that they provide. That's good if you don't have any time to just put into figuring out what a good size is to optimize your product, optimize your package for the product that you're shipping. So a lot of people just say, I chose this warehouse, and this warehouse puts it in this box and sends it out the door. Good. I mean, if you're just trying to push product as quickly as possible, but if you want to A, be more eco-friendly when you're actually shipping product, but also B, spend less money on the shipping and the packaging itself. You should optimize your product for the package. Like if you haven't done an analysis on that, it doesn't cost anything to do that analysis. It just takes time. If this is what you're shipping, is the package like 5 times the size of this? And if that's the case, why? You should talk to your warehouse, talk to your packaging provider, whoever it may be, wink, wink, and tell them, hey, I want something that makes more sense for the product that I'm shipping. Can you make it fit so that I'm not spending as much money on shipping? And also you're again, remember I said whatever you're sending is a very deliberate message to your customers. You're telling your customers, oh, they put in the time to make sure that this product fits in the package. Like I'm upset. I don't know about you. I'm upset when I receive a toothbrush in the mail in a box that's like this big and I'm sifting through trash to get it. Like, don't be that guy or girl or whoever. So ship items in bulk versus just multiple single boxes. So for this strategy, again, it's a time strategy. This isn't spending more money, people. It's just spending a little bit more time. Don't just have, let's say you ship, we're working with a company called Taste It Wines, and they have, when people buy, one bottle of wine, they have a single pack. And when people buy 3 bottles of wine or 8 bottles of wine, they have an 8 pack. They don't do 8 single packs or 3 single packs. They have different packages for different combinations of the SKUs that they ship. So do your homework and figure out what your combinations are that you're actually shipping out the door. And with that, it again, doesn't take very much time to be able to find out what sizes of packages you should be carrying to help with the different combinations that you sell. It's that simple. And again, your customers will thank you for it. Offer carbon neutral shipping by offsetting emission. This also has to do with, where are you ordering your packaging from? Are you ordering it overseas? Are you falling into a ploy of, oh, this is a very sustainable new material that, we can ship your product in? I typically stay away from those. In the end, corrugated paper is like sidewalk compostable. It's not gimmicky. It's, especially if it's FSC certified, find a company that is, then you're going to be taking a sustainable route. Fix your returns process. If you can have like a package that is returnable when you send your product out, and then using biodegradable paper and materials for packaging. So making sure that there's no like plastic varnish on your package that might be unnecessary. I'm getting into the nitty gritty. So again, you can always just ask me or someone about this in regards to, using like an aqueous water-based coating versus like a plastic coating. Like these simple things completely change the game when it comes to having a recyclable package. How to budget for custom packaging and save money. Strategies, analyze your packaging needs. Obviously, this kind of goes back to the bulk versus single, because this not only is the bulk single situation better for the environment, but it's also less expensive instead of shipping things individually, like having the bulk shipping. Be creative with what you have. That might mean having like a free sample inside of your package, because it's like an old inventory and you just give it to someone as like a, hey, try this out. And that's just like a nice thank you. And it's a great way of getting rid of inventory as well. And that's not what customers are going to think. It's not like, for example, I use this company that has like a collagen creamer, and they like attach a protein bar to it every time. I don't peel off the protein bar and say, thanks a lot for your old inventory. No, I'm like, oh, this is great. This is something that they've given me in addition to the purchase I've made. And it's, it's a thank you for being a loyal customer. Know what your customers' preferences are. So obviously talk to your users. Minimizing packaging depth. This is a very random one, but it's one that is like a golden rule that ends up being missed so often, which is, again, having to do with optimizing your package for the product. But depth seems to be the one that everyone falls into that trap. Everyone falls into the trap of, length, width, and depth of a package. And for whatever reason, it's the depth that people are always overpaying on shipping for, because they didn't shrink it to fit to size of the product. So don't sleep on that third dimension. Depth matters. Stay updated about innovations. That's a very generic statement, but essentially what that means is like read up on what's happening in e-commerce, attend webinars like these that Shopify puts on, and you might learn something, obviously. Understand China versus US costs and benefits. I know a lot of people tend to purchase packaging overseas, and sometimes that can be cheaper on a per unit basis. But again, what emissions are you offsetting, or rather, are you not, by doing that when something needs to be freighted over by boat for 90 days versus getting somewhere local or a domestic packaging provider, hem. Tips to prepare your packaging for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Very quick. First of all, congratulations to everyone who's attended this, because already you're way ahead of the game. You're attending something like this. You guys, y'all, I should say, clearly give a damn about your business and good timing. And that's because starting early is the first tip. And that means by attending this, you're starting early. That's nice. Negotiate with your suppliers. Like, this is a good time to negotiate with your suppliers, because you're about to have a big push of product, I hope, for all of you out there. I wish you all success, and that you can have that discussion with your suppliers so that you can really capitalize on some good growth during this busy season, which also ties into purchasing more material up front. Improve your scheduling. That, again, you guys are clearly in the right place, because you're having this, you're attending webinars like these, so you're probably pretty good at scheduling. Design seasonal holiday packaging. You can remember the slide where we went over digital versus flexolitho. If the answer is no, that's totally fine as well. But there's two different types of packaging styles you can print. And what I was saying for digital, where you can order as few as 10 boxes, you can help with tip number 5, which is design seasonal holiday packaging. And that might mean like first-time buyers that are coming through for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and you might have some sort of special. So you can print as few as 10 boxes, fully branded, of whatever the heck you want. And even though the per unit cost might be a little bit more expensive, you're not paying for any upfront tooling, no setup fees, and this is a good time to really invest in future repeat business and expanding the lifetime value of the customers that are coming through your funnel for Black Friday and Cyber Monday, because this is when everyone experiments. I'm going to be experimenting. I'm going to be buying all sorts of things. Come that time. Some of it is for personal research for the business. Other is for significant others and family members. But also, it's fun. I mean, it's fun to see what else is out there and what stories people have to say with the products that they sell. Stories like yours. That's it. That was a little bit longer than I wanted it to be, but thank you for listening in. If you made it all the way, congratulations. And if you have any questions, now is the time. Support@arka.com. If you have any questions after this and you got a jet, no problem. We answer those. At Arka Packaging is our Twitter and our Instagram. We're pretty active on all social media fronts. And again, thank you to Shopify for giving us the opportunity to chat. And if there are any questions, now's the time.
Great. Thank you so much, Philip. That was super, super informative. And like Philip said, if you guys have any sort of in-depth questions, really specific packaging questions to your brand, feel free to reach out to them at support@arka.com. I'm just going to circle back to our question from Cheryl at the beginning. She wanted to elaborate that she was looking for branding for large packages. So I believe she's looking more for the printing side of things. So I think you could probably help her out with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we can, if you're looking for larger packaging, that's fine. Whether it's, like there are certain limitations around branded packaging due to the bed size of some of the printers, large format printers. We have a pretty good network of facilities that we work with, some of which have jumbo size printers that can help with that. Also, depending on the packaging style, the package might be split up and glued to be able to help house larger products. And then lastly, in situations like that, I really do recommend actually just going with branded tape, because at that point you can have a unbranded giant box, which doesn't need to go on a large printer, because it will be expensive. And not that I'm not happy to take your money for a really big box that we could print. My advice is just getting the unbranded box and then wrapping it up with branded tape so that you can still get your design across without needing to spend that extra money.
Branded tape. That's a great idea. Didn't even think about that before. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks so much, Phil. Okay, so we've got some more questions. Awesome. Thanks so much, guys, for asking all your questions. So Lauren wants to know, if you're creating a digital print subscription box for social, can you achieve a nice looking box look and feel?
If you're creating a box for social, yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, they'll tend to have branding on the outside or branding on the inside or both. And then they'll just have their, their Twitter handle, Instagram handle, Facebook page, TikTok these days, Pinterest, whatever, on the side or on the inside, and they can open up and see it. And that can be a great way to welcome your customers and get them to continue to engage with your brand through social media. So that's absolutely a way. You can do that. You can even do a QR code. You can do a QR code that literally they put a camera to it and it takes them to a link that automatically follows your account. So there's a lot of things that you can do in that regard. And there certainly aren't any limitations when it comes to print on that side. So absolutely doable. Totally. Great question.
Yeah, that is a really good question. Just out of curiosity, do you have any other kind of like fun examples of brands that have been doing some interesting unboxing moments or anything like that? For social?
Yeah. So yes. This one company, Felix Gray, that we work with, is actually a really cool company that does that. They do eyewear. So they're similar to like a Warby Parker. I'm probably getting in trouble for even mentioning them alongside Felix Gray, but we like them way more. And they do a great job of engaging with customers with the branded packaging that they provide, so that it ties back to their social and ties back to continuing a relationship with the company itself. And again, that's a very simple thing that you guys can do. Doesn't cost a lot. If you're already getting some sort of branding on the package anyways, then this is a great way to get in front of your customers and continue a discussion.
Perfect. Yeah. And we also have a question. Lauren just wanted to ask again. So she wanted to clarify, she's looking for something high gloss, like a high gloss packaging. So is that?
I mean, that's sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Absolutely. Depending on what your volumes are, when you print digitally, it's always going to have a nice gloss to it. You can also print on a chemi material, which is essentially just like a glossy material that really has a nice sheen to it. And then on the flexo litho route, so quick breakdown between like digital and flexo. So like digital is essentially a giant inkjet printer, similar to an HP printer that you have at home or at your office, and it just sprays the ink on top of the cardboard and just rests on top of the cardboard. Similar process, different process, I should say, actually, is flexo, where a giant stamp is rolled in ink, and then a roller essentially extrudes the cardboard through the other end, and then out comes your design. And for that, gloss or varnish is actually considered an additional color, and that's sprayed on top of your existing colors that you have. Let's say you have red, you have a red box, that's one color. Gloss goes on top of the red, that's a second color. That's how it works for flexo and litho. But then for digital, because it rests on top of the cardboard and already has a natural sheen to it, those are typically glossy. So if you're ordering under 5,000, we would print those digitally and they'll already have a gloss to it. And then if you wanted more than that, you just need to specify, and we can make it as glossy as you want.
Cool. So as glossy as you want, which is the best answer, right?
100%.
Awesome. Cool. So we have Teresa has a question as well. I'm working with a graphic design artist who wants to know my budget. I sell plant-based skincare and don't need huge boxes, but where is a good box to start with? Yeah, so that kind of maybe leads back to your presentation about, just knowing your product and your box size. So if you want to help her out with skincare specifically.
Sure. Yeah. And we work with a few skincare companies, one of which is a company called Bloom, that they actually have a package that goes inside of a package. And in other cases, they have the product that just rests inside of the package. So when the designer is asking you what kind of budget do you have, I would, if you haven't launched yet, I would just take what you have, focus on your product and your distribution channels to get the product out. And then with those funds, you can, polish your design to the point where someone asking what your budget is, you can answer it doesn't matter, because you're already doing such a good job with the product and you're getting it out there. But send over an email, or we can email you after and we can help you with the specifics and make sure you get the perfect box for your product. But I always recommend that instead of doing a package inside of a package, what you can do is create a insert. And this time, when I say insert, I don't mean like a piece of paper. I actually mean like a cavity inside of the box that your product can rest inside of. So that it doesn't need to be a box inside of a box. It's just product inside of an insert. Box closes and you can ship that out the door. That's a really good way to, I think it's a better customer experience because they just open it up and there's the product right there, nicely presented. But also you're saving money. You're paying for one box only instead of two. So we can help you with the specifics if you want to send over more info.
Very cool. Awesome. So Teresa loved the inserts idea, so that's great. And
Yep, happy to help.
Tim had a great question about, do you have any tips, any polybag tips or best practices? So I'm guessing, Tim, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you want to know how to kind of make those a good unboxing experience.
Sure. Depends on what your product is. If it's apparel, you can get away with poly material, I think. If it's anything else, it really will make your product look a little bit cheaper than, like this goes back to the stat slide about having an upscale brand in relation to your package. So when you ship in a poly mailer, when it's apparel, it's okay because it's a bag that has clothes in it. But if you're doing like a beauty product or a tech product or something else, it's a little bit more difficult to come across as high end with poly mailers. But to answer your question specifically, instead of just trying to push you towards boxes, which depending on what you're shipping, it would also be good to know, what are you shipping? Can we ask Tim, what are you shipping? And I'll continue answering the question. But we can do poly mailers as few as a couple hundred if you just want your logo printed on there. And that's what I suggest for people that want smaller, like if you want small volumes and you want to ship it in poly mailer, then just imprinting your logo is the best that's going to happen. If you want small volumes and you want a bunch of artwork and you want it to look really fancy, you need to go the box route, because with boxes you can do fully branded on the outside, inside, whatever, for as few as 10. But poly mailers, if you want like full bleed, which is what they call it, meaning like the entire bag is covered in ink and artwork, then you need to start with a few thousand at least. And if it's like an image file, meaning it's not just blue, red, green, like spot colors, if it's like a rainbow or like a sunset, if it's an image of a sunset, for example, which is like gradient coloring, then you need to do like 10 or 15,000 bags to start. So it really depends on what your artwork is like. It really depends on what your product is. But my advice would be, go the box route if you want a bunch of branding. If you want just a few hundred and you're happy with just your logo, you can do just your logo on a printed bag.
Awesome. And Tim actually just got back to us, perfect timing,
cool.
on
Nice.
what he ships. So this is such an interesting one. So Tim and his company ship garden seeds in small packages. They are
cool.
low price point items, but high item quantity, 11 plus items per package. That's kind of an interesting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on. I've never actually heard of that. That's kind of cool. Curious what seeds you got there, Tim. But I would be careful with that, actually. Seeds might get crushed in a poly bag. So I might even push towards boxes. Depends on how resilient your seeds are. I don't know what kind of seeds you're selling. Some might be okay under large pressure, but you have to realize that whether it's like USPS or FedEx or DHL or wherever, your stuff's going to get kicked around, stacked on with other items, unless you have fragile on there. And even then, sometimes there's breakage. So if you really want to protect your product, put it in a box. And that's why I push for only apparel really going in a poly mailer, because nothing's going to happen to your t-shirt in a bag. It can get beaten up. That's fine. But something like seeds, and that might compromise the structural integrity of the seed and ultimately the efficacy of the seeds sprouting. And then you might get blamed for it if it gets beaten up in transit. So maybe put it in a box. Either that, or you're going to need to use a bunch of padding to put it inside the polymer. And then at that point, you're just better off using a box anyways. So that's my advice, to be honest.
And for something like, 11 packs of seeds, let's say, if he's doing a box, I guess that would be something you'd want to consider with the depth as well, like you mentioned. Would that be something that, yeah?
Okay. You could do something really cool with that. Like you could have, a box open up and there could be different slits for the different seed packets. And they're just separated by pieces of cardboard, and that's fine. And they open it up and they can like reach in and grab one of the 11 packs, and they're protected and they're not crushed. So I would be curious what the dimensions of the packet is, and based on that can be the depth of the box, and then on how you lay it out, that could be the width and length of the box. But I would love to talk to you, so feel free to shoot over an email and we can help you further.
Yeah, definitely. That sounds really interesting, the idea of having the little kind of cards in a box kind of thing.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. I just had one question myself, actually, felt that I wanted to ask you for the sustainability piece. FSC certified, Could you go over that just for me and maybe, I don't know if it's a Canadian thing, I'm Canadian, but maybe just to know like what that means.
Yeah, so we are FSC certified. If anyone out there can Google FSC certification, and essentially here, let me do like a quick, I can stop sharing for a second and just look up the exact term. But essentially it has to do with where your paper is supplied from. Forest Stewardship Council certification. So essentially you're in a program that acknowledges the sustainability efforts of how you're sourcing your paper for the ultimate production of your packaging. So Arka is FSC certified, and that's due to our paper coming from a paper mill called Spicer's, which no one's ever heard about, and I don't know why you would. And we didn't even know that until we started going after the certification. We had to do all this research, figure out where our paper's coming from. And with that, we're able to get that stamp of approval that says we get our paper from, a sustainable source. And that's important. I would recommend, look, guys, please research who you're getting your packaging from. If I could, one more soapbox experiment, especially when it comes to companies like, I'm sure everyone's, including myself, has been guilty of using a company like Uline at one point, right? We match Uline's entire catalog, both from a product and pricing standpoint, except we aren't Uline, and not going to go into it further than that. I'll just ask you to do your own research and Google #boycott Uline. Please switch over from Uline. Not even if it's not to switch over from them to us, switch over to someone else. But there are so many other options out there, and this all ties back into sourcing sustainably, but also good work practices. And look, you want to vote with your money, and wherever your money goes is going to continue the behavior of wherever that money is going. And I'm lucky enough where I'm the founder of this business and I get to make those decisions. So I recommend that as founders of your own businesses and stewards of your own product, that you make sure that it's associated with other businesses that are taking the right path and are aligned with your own beliefs. So if FSC certification and certification about good, like well-sourced product and making sure that everything's manufactured in a sustainable manner, then that's something you should consider. I mean, my quick background, I'm an industrial engineer by trade. And so I don't just care about the material itself. I care about how it's made. So, this is a fun, for all of you listening, this is also a fun thing about being a founder. Like, you will have to, like, these things should matter to you. And as a result of that, you will have to be doing your own research, and in researching, you're going to learn a lot. I've learned a lot during this process. I hope you guys have a fun journey doing the same. So find out who your suppliers are and what they stand for.
It's a really good point. Yeah, it's really good to consider those things, especially if you're looking to do more ethical, sustainable business. It's always good to kind of look into those things, right? Yeah, definitely. Awesome. And just one more question. So if one of our audience members doesn't have a loyalty program yet, like an insert program, and they're curious, they love the idea that you just presented to them, what's the way that they can just what's something they can do just to get that started? Like, what's the first step you would recommend if you don't have loyalty inserts yet, or any kind of program for the post-purchase experience?
Like, what would the first loyalty program? I mean, repeat orders. Like, just hook up your customers if they're ordering again. And I hope you have a platform that makes it easy for your customers to reach out to you. But pay attention. Like, I don't know, we use Slack, and Slack has like a webhook that shows us when an order is made, and we'll recognize their email. We'll be like, oh, that's our friend over at Burgundy Fox. They just ordered from us again. Let's, Leslie from Burgundy Fox. Let's give her a discount. Let's just like follow up with her and give her a discount for ordering. That matters. Like, could you imagine if you ordered from her website and you got a personal email from wherever you just ordered, and they said, hey, Teresa, really liked that you're coming back. Here's $10 on us, or whatever. It just doesn't matter. It can be a nominal amount. Again, effort. It goes back to the effort. It doesn't matter how much you spend on it. It doesn't matter how much you give away. It doesn't matter how much savings you're offering. The fact that you just reached out to them should mean a lot. It would mean a lot to me. So yeah, that's an easy way to do it. And that doesn't require a developer background or an API integration. That's just outreach. Thank your customers, talk to them, and hook it up for them coming back.
And
If that doesn't establish loyalty, I don't know what that does. That's a good way to start.
Yeah, you gotta maintain those relationships.
Totally.
And in the box experience. So let's say we want to do something where when the customer opens their box and they get some kind of personalized message. You mentioned like handwritten notes. Like, is that the best place to start if our merchants aren't sure like what to do first? Like, pen and paper, make it easy, or do you recommend kind of a branded little insert, or what would you say for that?
Yeah, I mean, because it doesn't necessarily cost any more to just like handwrite a note. Certainly, it's not scalable if you have like thousands and thousands of customers. Although, I've heard stories from people that literally recruit their whole family and get everyone to like write a note to someone, and they just do a little powwow fulfillment session. But you could also do inside print and just have the person's first name printed on the inside. This goes back to digital print and one of the offerings that we provide, where you can order as few as 10, and there can be just like a welcome message printed on the inside when they open up the box. They can also have a branded like postcard that goes in there, or like I said, a handwritten note, like you had mentioned. There's so many ways. Like, just don't in that case, in those scenarios, just use your imagination and forget about subject matter experts like myself. Just again, put yourself in the customer's position. Like, what if you received something in the mail and you're a fan of this company that you received something with? How can they reach you? Like, how can they actually reach you? Maybe it's not even in the box. Maybe it's an email afterwards that says, hey, by the way, this is the founder. Thank you for ordering. Whatever. But your packaging is such an opportunity to physically travel to your customer and give them something. So take advantage of that in whatever way you can. And having some sort of printing on the box, in the box, is definitely one route to take. Otherwise, something as simple as a note, something as simple as a message. Put yourself in their shoes. What would you want?
Yeah, that's great advice. And I know from a customer perspective myself, even a handwritten note from a merchant would mean a ton to me. So that's really good to kind of think about what would matter to you. That's perfect advice. Yeah. So we've been getting a lot of questions about just sort of like, box sizes and how to predict box sizes. So I'm just going to circle back to that and just kind of ask, if you're not, let's say you don't know your exact product catalog moving forward, let's say you're going to be planning on introducing new pieces, what's the best way to sort of like prepare for new products for packaging?
That's a good question. Test it on yourself first, if you can. If you have this, again, it requires time. If you can take that product, maybe put it in, send it to your friends, send pilot some orders. This goes back to the digital printed boxes where you can do as few as 10. So you can pilot something branded, send it to your VIP customers. Maybe if you don't have any friends, but you got a ton of customers, send it to your VIP customers and see what they say. Test that out and ask them, be like, hey, I'm sending this to you at half off or for free, or maybe it's full price, but it's very exclusive and only they get access to it. However, that part you can decide on your own, but get it in the hands of someone and see what that experience is like. Even if that someone is yourself, put your product in an item, wrap it up, put it in the mail, have it sent back to yourself if you want, and just see, okay, is this rattling around? And if it's rattling around, it seemed okay when I opened the box, so who cares? Maybe I don't need to make any changes. Or, oh wow, because of this extra 3 inches of depth, it shook so hard that this product broke or was damaged or compromised in some way. So experiment. My suggestion on that is, don't wait until the product is 100% ready and you want to put it out the door. No, like when you have a general idea of what you're going to be releasing, get some sort of research around it. And if you want us to actually optimize your package for it, we do that. So we'll take the dimensions of your product. We will create an insert, like the cavity to actually put the product in, and make sure that it fits your product perfectly. So, there's a lot of services out there that can help with that. But in the end, you can always just test it yourself, see what kind of feedback you get. But there are people out there that'll do it for you.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Just that thing you just mentioned about getting, it shaking or breaking and you not knowing until later, you definitely want to get that sorted right away. So we just have time for one last question, and we have one for Todd that just came in. So Todd is asking, do you have clients that co-brand on a package? Any examples?
Co-branded packaging. There's this company called Bulu Box that won't do co-branding on the package. Sometimes they do. Excuse me. Sometimes they will, where there'll be, a featured box. One was actually the fanciest one, I would say, is when Neiman Marcus and Pop Sugar did a box together, and we did that box for them, where it was a bunch of products that Pop Sugar recommended that Neiman Marcus carries, and it just had a co-branding on the outside, and they decided on that together. They just, if you have a customer that you're thinking about doing some sort of co-marketing effort on, have your designers put their heads together, or if it's just, the two founders, you and that other founder, just come up with an agreement of what you want that package to look like, and, subsidize the cost between the two of you, and get your product out the door and see what type of response you get from your customers. But there's no reason why that's not a possibility. And look, if, all the way from the largest customers to the smallest customers companies rather, can collaborate on that. So, I don't see why you can't do that as well. It's totally possible. It's not that difficult. It just comes down to an agreement of differences on creative and what that's going to look like. If it's two very different companies, and having one cohesive branding to come out the other end, that is going to have to be a problem solving exercise for you and the designers involved. But it's possible. Go for it. I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great way to just touch different audiences. Like, they'll get in front of your community, you'll get in front of their community, especially if there's some sort of relevance or overlap. It sounds like a great opportunity. Go for it.
Very cool. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's all the time we have for today, but I just wanted to say thank you so much, Philip, for joining us. This was super informative, and I learned a lot, and I hope that everyone at home or in your offices or wherever you might be around the world learned a lot as well. Like Philip mentioned before, if you do want to get a hold of him, you can reach him do you want to just share those details again, Phil?
Sure. Support@arka.com will go straight to our support team. I see all those. And if you want to call me out directly and say, hey, Philip said X, Y, and Z, my team loves to bring that to my attention and just pawn it off on me and say, hey, this customer's calling you out. What do they want? What do they want to talk about? I'll take a look. Don't worry. So support@arka.com, or Instagram, I should say, Twitter, all social media. We're Arka Packaging, ARKAPACKAGING, Arka Packaging. So reach out. Let us know if you have any questions, concerns. We're here to help.
Awesome. There you have it. A name drop. It helps if you name drop.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for coming. And like I mentioned earlier, if you weren't here when it first started, we are recording this live right now. So when that is completed, we will send you out an email with the recording, as well as a PDF designed by Arka and their team, so that you can have all the takeaways from this workshop. Okay, well, thanks so much, guys, again for coming. This has been Shopify Plus Academy and Arka, and thanks again. Have a great night, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, Steph. Appreciate it. Bye, guys.
Bye.